Hi everyone, Painting with an Open Heart, Israel's flourishing security industry, and a special feature, the underground Lehi veterans tell their stories. This is Israeli Salad. Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. We'll present a special feature about the underground Lehi organization, but first, some art and Israeli pride. You gotta come and see the painting. Artist and art teacher Arutz Coleman told us, but it was only when we heard what a special group creates these paintings that we decided to come to take a look.
As we fill in the pattern, look what happens. What kind of paint are you using? Right, acrylic paint?
Artist Rudy Coleman teaches and creates art in many places. We decided to meet Ruti during a special lesson with special students.
Wow, do you like it?
The lesson takes place at the Ezer Mitzion Center in Bnei Brak. The students suffer from different levels of retardation.
What color? Green.
Ruti teaches her students advanced painting techniques.
I teach them all my techniques, using sticks, nets, and the background. And we do it according to their level, each girl according to her own abilities.
In addition to having a good time and learning art, what does this lesson give these girls?
First of all, gentle mobility, skill, and mainly, they're so proud of the results. They call everyone to come and see. I think this gives them so much. You know, in regular school, you don't see such amazing results.
Yoni,
you have to come and see the techniques that Ruti taught me.
Wait, aren't you messing up the drawing?
No,
this is the plan. This way, my hands will make the drawing look blurry.
Ruti Coleman has students throughout the country, but this weekly lesson has a special place in her heart.
I have exhibitions all over the world, but this is my greatest enjoyment. I give and receive double.
Every week, the students eagerly await the lesson, and especially their teacher.
Ruti Coleman is a righteous lady and gives us attention. She always misses us. She puts much effort into our painting. Ruti gives me candies. I love this art so much, I'll never leave my teacher, Ruti Coleman.
Last week we met the Sufa 2, an Israeli-made Jeep. Now we'll continue with some more pride in the Israeli security industry. We're now off to a special exhibition that took place at the Tel Aviv exhibition grounds. Security is something that involves all nations around the world. In Israel, security has an especially high priority. The need to battle terror and protect the public from the enemies of the Jewish nation have caused the security industries to reach high international achievements. At the Israel Security 2006 exhibition, companies presented a variety of security appliances, from the basic protection gear to technologically advanced equipment. All the products made in Israel.
You can see here two important things. First of all, the Jewish mind that continues to invent and produce. And secondly, we can see the large security industries that are beginning to be more involved in counterterrorism and homeland security. The big companies like Rafael, the aviation industry, and the military industry are adding to their military involvement and are now also involved in homeland security and protecting the public. And because of this, the technological level of the exhibition has improved significantly.
Israeli developers are experienced in the field of counterterrorism and homeland security, and that is because, unfortunately, many of the developments were used on the field during the war against Arab terror. The security situation has created a close cooperation between the manufacturers and the security forces.
This weapon is a development that was produced in cooperation with the IDF. It's made of unique materials. It's lightweight, short, and compact. It's been tested and is appropriate for our soldiers' needs. This container can contain explosions and seal in dangerous gases. It was used 7 times already. It's designated for the disposal of suspicious objects. You put the object inside, close the door, and if a bomb detonates, nothing happens to the security personnel. What we're doing here is a biometric facial identification. It's based upon a person's skull, the distance between the eyes, the structure of the nose, and the eyebrows. These are characteristics that can never be changed. Here we have Noam and Eitan, who are twins. Our system is able to differentiate between the two of them.
120 companies presented their products at this exhibition. The Security 2006 event is an opportunity for all those who are involved in the security industry to gather and exchange ideas and suggestions.
We're an advisory and inspection company, and so everything you see here interests me. I have to be updated in terms of all the developments. What we see here is the top stuff, interesting stuff. I just hope that we don't need to use most of them.
And now our special feature, 60 years after they participated in one of the biggest sabotage operations against the British occupation, Lehi veterans who escaped the hangman's noose tell their stories. Gabi Newman and Miriam Hoffman met them.
I was a member of the Lehi underground fighters. Being a member of the Lehi was the most meaningful time of my life. We felt we were changing the destiny of our people after 2,000 years of exile. We were achieving independence, of course. Not everything was thanks to us, but a lot was. The Lehi was a catalyst that caused others to go out and take action.
אנחנו במחתרת, בתחב אפלת מרתף.
This year marks the 60th anniversary of one of the most daring projects undertaken by the Lehi against the British occupation, the blowing up of the munitions factories in Haifa Bay. Here, near Kiryat Ata, a memorial was established to honor the 11 Lehi fighters who fell during the operation.
אותנו בחשכת מחתרת, בסנוורים היכה חלום, שוחה על הרצפה כנרת, אור מנורה זיו שמש רום, שוחה על הרצפה כנרת.
60 years after the daring raid, Lehi veterans who took part in the operation continue to travel throughout the country and recount the events of those days.
We weren't army soldiers, we were underground fighters who appeared when we were called. We all held jobs. When there was an operation, we took time off work. They would come to my place of work and tell me, at 6 p.m. you need to be at such and such a place, and I would go.
We were a group of 44 people who attacked a factory belonging to the rail authority near Haifa. This was the only factory of its type in the entire British Empire. If a car broke in a train in India, they would have to ship it to Haifa to be repaired.
During this period, the train was the main means of transportation, linking Syria and Lebanon to Egypt. At the entrance to Akko from the direction of Tel Aviv, there's a bridge which the train would pass over, and we were supposed to blow up that bridge.
We took up our positions and we hammered them with gunfire. They fled from their positions at the gate.
Operation succeeded because we had too much ammunition. It was a shame to waste it, so we put a little more here, a little more there. We ended up staying too long. Another problem, the retreat was signaled by a whistle, and a part of the group inside did not hear it. The rest of us, who heard it, had to return to get them out. This enabled the British to surround us within 3 circles. In the outer circle, there were already tanks which shot at us. A tank shot at an escape vehicle. That's how 11 of our boys were killed. And those that escaped were covered in blood because the vehicles were full of blood.
I instinctively jumped from the car and started to crawl along the road. I descended from the road and ran along a canal. It was unbelievable torture.
Those who remained alive were taken prisoner.
The prisoners were taken to the Akko prison. They did not receive a normal trial.
Because of us, the British authorities needed to institute a special law to allow trying of prisoners, because as soon as they started the trial, we all stood up and started singing the hymn of the Lehi. After we sat down, they tried to start the trial. Again, we sang more nationalist songs. And slowly, they began to understand that we would not let them carry out the trial. We sang, and they talked amongst themselves, and in this way the trial ended without our even knowing the verdict. Everyone asked us, what was the verdict? We really didn't know. Only at 6 in the evening, when we heard the English news on the radio, we heard the word death. At the time, I did not know a lot of English. Even now I don't know a lot of English, but I saw the faces of our boys change color, and I understood that the verdict was not good. When the news ended, our supervisor, we didn't have a commander, just supervisors, said, "That's it, guys. We've all been sentenced to death by hanging." We all went to our cells. It was Friday evening. We were used to singing Sabbath songs, and at that time we didn't want to disrupt our tradition. We started to sing, and then from all the other cells they began bringing us chocolates and cakes, and whatever you can imagine from all the other prisoners, from the Haganah and from the Etzel. They brought it all to us, and we continued to sing, and they all joined us. It was something very hard to forget. The moment that sticks out most in my mind until today was when they weighed me. They weighed everyone who was sentenced to death to make sure that the rope would not break when he was hanged. So there was a feeling that these were our final days. אם המות פה
בצל הבור בין חומות בית קילי אך רוחי ודאי תמצא לדור בציון עיר שלי כגחלת עוז רוחשת אמונת תקווה טהור
We didn't want to die, but it was clear that this was part of the battle. This way we could succeed in breaking them.
The Lehi did not agree to the death sentences and managed to sneak into the prison many different weapons to be used in the Great Escape.
To give you an idea, they'd check every can we would bring in. The officer stuck his knife into the can to check if it was jam. He pulled out the knife, smelled it, and with a sour face he said, "What disgusting jam." It was explosives, which smelled a lot like jam. And he threw it at us, letting it through. We blew up 3 steel doors in order to reach the place through which we could escape. 100 kilos of explosives in 2 places. These were extremely thick walls.
May 4th, 1947. 23 Etzel fighters dressed as British soldiers went into action to free the underground fighters jailed by the British. In tandem, the Jewish prisoners inside were preparing for escape. A huge explosion shook the southern side of the prison. 40 kilo of explosives punched a hole through the wall of the prison, and through the hole, 43 Jewish fighters spilled out on their way to freedom.
I came down this ladder, and there was another ladder, a bigger ladder, and until I got to it, it had already broken from those who had jumped before me. And from there, we entered Akko, where a car was waiting for us. And we can say that this was one of the operations that really broke them. Napoleon did not succeed in capturing Akko, but the underground fighters did. They succeeded in breaking into the prison and liberating the prisoners. One boy from Etzel and another from Lehi, who blew themselves up in the prison in Jerusalem, Barazani. Haven't you heard the name? You haven't heard the name. You have to read, guys. At your age, the age of 15, we had those who risked their lives to hang our political posters in Tel Aviv. One was even caught and executed. I take every opportunity to tell people how we felt then. I try to explain to people that it wasn't so simple, even for us. But we were brought up to believe that for the people and the country, we were ready to sacrifice our lives.
It's a moral obligation to the people we sent to carry out the operations and remained alive. It's a moral obligation to remember as much as possible those who fell.
It's the history of the Jewish people. We are the last generation to meet them. And if we don't know this, we cannot transfer it to the next generation. And if we don't pass it on, people will forget.
I have a great feeling of admiration for the people who stood up in the face of danger and said, "I want to do something, and I'm willing to do anything to achieve it."
I think it's very important to transfer their feelings and knowledge to the youth, so it will be important to them too, so they won't see it as a piece of land you can just play about with. So they will see the basic value of it for the people of Israel as a whole, and for us in particular.
Yoni Kempinski
Okay, that's all for this week. Join us again next week for another edition. Until then, from all of us here at INN TV Arutz Sheva, Shalom.